Noah Samsen makes it pretty clear that if you are spreading pro-Israeli propaganda and misinformation, that is support of Israel and then a support of what they're doing. So once again, they're going to have to prove that like Ethan Klein didn't spread any misinformation about Israel, which is just blatantly false. Today we're just going to be going over basically the entirety of Ethan Klein's letter to Noah Samsen. Last week I went over a little bit of his letter already, the parts concerning Mudahar, and I really don't think there's anything there in terms of Ethan Klein being able to sue, or in terms of Mudahar being able to claim that Noah Samsen was defaming him, because they didn't actually include any parts of Noah Samsen's video that was defamatory other than the thumbnail and the title of Noah's video. And what they did, instead of saying like, oh, Noah Samsen is defaming me, here's the specific things where he defamed me and this is why he's wrong, they just included a bunch of half-assed comments from Mudahar where he's like, yeah, maybe Palestinians are being genocided. And then he's like, I don't think genocide's a good thing. I'm like, that's not going to be enough for them to be able to sue Noah Samsen. Because Noah Samsen has the claim that Mudahar is basically both sidesing a genocide. Ethan Klein is, I don't know, he supports Kamala Harris, or he supports Dems, right? And he's not into Trump at all. But he spends all of his time attacking leftist content creators. He spends all of his time attacking pro-Palestinian content creators. And he is snuggling up to conservative content creators through like these poker tournaments. And those are the people that he's allies with now because he's spending so much time attacking leftists and pro-Palestinian content creators. So he's hanging out with guys like Mudahar, Steiny, Bradley Martin. And he's claiming he's going to like hold their feet to the fire, but apparently he didn't do a good enough job because his audience was pissed off. I listened to Ethan read this out once, but I just really want to like break down. Whoa, what's happening? I really want to break down the actual letter and dive into the claims and just like do a deep dive into all of this. So I'm just going to play this. I don't care too much about it, but he's just like reading a bad empanada tweet or an Instagram post or whatever.
Yeah.
The human STD is losing his mind at this moment. He sent me an email just right now. I sent you a picture. He said, or not right now. Let's see. When did he send? He sent it at 8:50 a.m. He says, clean your shit, don't eat it. Which I don't know is a threat or if he's just making a
I think that's good advice.
Giardia joke.
That seems
clean
like...
well, I don't need to clean my shit. I just won't eat it. I'll just flush it.
You should clean too.
Clean my shit, though? It doesn't need to be cleaned. You just flush it.
I don't know how you would...
Guys, this is comedy. This is brought to you from one of the greatest comedic minds of our time. Bad empanada said, clean my shit, don't eat it. Wow, what kind of person cleans their shit? Why, you want me to polish it off, grab it out of the toilet? Wow, got him.
Clean.
Yeah, he's confused. So he's messaging me. He's also raving about my attorney. Oh, I don't know if it's him. I mean, well, I'll tell you the email it came from. badempanada@gmail.com. That's, yeah, a demand for retraction.
So you got an email from Bad Empanada? That's actually pretty funny. Ethan Klein's lawyer, no, he has no case, so he sent Noah Samsen a completely powerless letter instead of actually suing, half of which is just dedicated to the lawyer asking ChatGPT to debunk two of my videos and Noah recommended. This is not a joke. Ethan paid his lawyer thousands to ask ChatGPT to write a letter refuting two of my videos rather than trying to do it himself. It extensively cites YouTube videos and Wikipedia pages. He thinks he can sue Noah Samsen for my videos. It's glorious. That is kind of true. Like, they're like, oh, you... Okay, so first of all, the letter is extremely weird. I don't know if it was necessarily written by ChatGPT, but it was written by people that it seemed unprofessional. Like, once again, they're quoting Noah Samsen for they're claiming that he's like, I have special expertise on this subject, and because I use a serious tone, that's purporting myself to be an expert on it. Wow. Like, that's such a wild thing to assume, that because someone's talking about something seriously and citing their sources, they purport to be an expert on it. Extremely weird. And like, there's punctuation mistakes, different stuff like that. So once again, I don't know if it's necessarily written by AI, but it wasn't written well. And Ethan's like, I'm going to ask ChatGPT to write me a cease and desist letter for Noah Samsen. And then he compares it to his letter, and he's like, wow, look at this bad empanada. It's completely different. Which, once again, is just funny to do. This is kind of a joke. No, like, guys, Ethan Klein does not want this getting taken to court, because once again, if you can sue people for saying false things about you on YouTube, then Ethan Klein's getting sued about every single person that he's talked about, like, in his entire career. Just in the last week since he's been targeting Noah Samsen, he's made the claim multiple times that Noah Samsen is calling for violence against Ethan Klein. Like, you should be able... The fact that Ethan is suing Noah for saying that he supports a genocide because he is both sidesing this, and he's blaming Hamas for what's happening, compared to what Ethan has done to Noah Samsen or Hassan or Bad Empanada or like anyone, any number of other people that he's been covering, like, this is not a can of worms that Ethan really wants to open up. So like, the point of this cease and desist letter is to get Noah to take down the video, obviously.
So where were we? Overall, based on the totality. Oh yeah, so it continues. We were talking about that Noah says, I perpetuate the mass hoax by misreporting what's in the UN report. The UN report, with regards to the hostages, the mission team found clear and convincing information that some hostages taken in Gaza have been subjected to... So
guys, if you have like a PDF of this letter, I would love to find it, because I've been looking for it and I can't find it at all. I think Hassan was looking at an actual PDF of it, so I think it exists out there, but I would just like to look through it myself rather than letting Ethan talk about it. But anyway, so what is this? He has lost all of his marbles. Yeah, he's just desperate at this point. Like, he doesn't have anything else to do. Like, he has no other options. Ethan has tried winning this battle through the marketplace of ideas and engaging with people that are criticizing him on the propaganda front, and that's been like an abject failure. He made the content nuke about Hassan. He said the content nuke is like the best video he's ever made in his entire career, and Hassan's just gotten more and more popular despite the content nuke. Like, people don't really care about it. And sure, it got views, but once again, it's not actually affected anything. And so now he's going through this route, which is just another option for him to attack people that are criticizing him. Okay, so once again, I would love to be able to... it was on the Leftovers Reddit, I believe. Okay, let me take a look at that really quick. I'm just going to rewind it and have Ethan talk while I'm looking for the Reddit.
Of information gathered from multiple and independent sources at the different locations, there are reasonable grounds to believe that conflict-related sexual violence occurred at several locations across Gaza periphery, including in forms of rape, gang groups during the 7th of October attacks. Credible circumstantial information, which may be indicative of some forms of sexual violence, including genital mutilation, sexualized torture, or cruel, inhuman, and degrading treatment, was also gathered. This, by the way, in the reports that Noah says that nothing happened, which is a continued talking point that I see by him, Hassan, and co. being like, oh.
Okay, the fifth defamatory statement, i.e. the false assertion that Ethan misrepresented the report from the Office of the Special Representative, blah, blah, blah. So what is this? The mass raids on October 7th were not a hoax. In your first defamatory video, you cite paragraphs 84 and 86 from the UN report. First defamatory video at 44:31. Noah's threatening to kill him, and B is threatening him with clean your shit, don't eat it, and Hassan is threatening him because it's actually his fault. Yeah. So it makes it clear there were mass rapes on October 7th. So from the language you displayed in the defamatory video, it makes it clear there were mass rapes on October 7th. Wait, what? I'm actually confused about this. The fifth defamatory statement is that the false assertion that Ethan misrepresented the UN report, okay, about conflict-related sexual violence. The mass rapes on October 7th were not a hoax. In your first defamatory video, you cite paragraphs 84 and 86 from the UN report. First defamatory video at 44:31. From the language you displayed in the defamatory video, it makes it clear that there were mass rapes on October 7th. Okay, so they're saying that Noah made it clear that there were mass rapes on October 7th. Overall, based on the totality of information gathered from multiple independent sources at the different locations, there are reasonable grounds to believe that conflict-related violence occurred at several locations across Gaza periphery, including in the form of gang rapes during the 7th October 2023 attacks. Credible and circumstantial information, which may be indicative of some sorts of violence, including genital mutilations, torture, or cruel, inhuman, and degrading treatment, was also gathered. So this is credible and circumstantial information. Okay, let's just pull up the videos in the first defamatory video. So let's go to Noah Samsen's YouTube channel, and they said 44 minutes, 31 seconds.
The campaign was probably the closest he's ever been in terms of putting pressure on the platform.
We're tired of your site changing the rules.
The documentary wasn't even about the Houthis. It was about talking points that have been used for decades to legitimize Israeli colonization of Palestine. Ethan cites sources that contradict his own claims directly, such as the UN report he claims proves the Hamas mass rapes allegation.
There's a UN report that concludes it happened,
which the report itself denies.
The mission team was unable to establish the prevalence of violence and concludes that the overall magnitude, scope, and specific attribution of these violations would require a fully fledged investigation. Yeah, this is the thing, guys. This UN report collected circumstantial evidence, but by itself, that circumstantial evidence is not enough to conclusively say that all of these claims of like mass gang rape from Hamas soldiers happened. That's just like the facts of the matter. Even this UN report says that we need a more fully fledged investigation to establish like the actual truth of the matter. So if anyone is characterizing this UN report as conclusive proof that these mass sexual violence incidents happened, then they are mischaracterizing the report from the UN.
He spends 20 minutes in the...
Okay, so...
UN report that concludes it happened,
which the report itself denies. He spends 20 minutes in the video smearing a 19-year-old survivor of the...
So let's just like mark down these defamatory statements. So the first defamatory statement is the thumbnail and the title of the video. The YouTubers have acted genocide. Okay. In the content nuke, you can find just about every type of what we looked at. And guys, the thing is, with that first defamatory statement, so I'm just gonna write a list really quick. Let's mark this down. 1, YouTubers that backed a... 2. So okay, so for the first defamatory statement, list of defamatory statements Noah made against Ethan. So for one, YouTubers that backed a genocide, so that'd be like Ethan backed a genocide essentially. Ethan backed a genocide. You can easily make this claim because Ethan has continuously like played a devil's advocate and tried to both sides this genocide, basically saying that Hamas is as much at fault as, if not more, to blame compared to Israel. And the issue with that is Noah can just say, yeah, I believe that if you both sides of genocide, that is backing a genocide. The other thing is that Ethan has literally made the claim that if you are paying taxes in America, you are backing a genocide. Like he and Mudahar were joking about, oh, well, if you don't want to support genocide, then don't pay your taxes. That is literally a self-admission that he is backing a genocide. So you can also make the claim that way. So like that's an open and shut case where Noah can defend his beliefs, like his sincerely held beliefs, that that's true. And Ethan himself has literally like made the claim that that's also true. So yeah, that one is like pretty open and shut, non-defamatory. Okay, so the second defamatory statement. In the content nuke, you can find just about every type of what we just looked at in terms of manufacturing consent. Ethan spreads atrocity propaganda. He shares the Hamas mass hoax, the same hoax that was used by the Western media, the US government, and the Israeli government to justify genocide. So I guess we can say Ethan spreads propaganda? I mean, that's literally true too. Ethan spreads Ethan literally made the claim that he wants to go to Israel to spread pro-Israel propaganda. Okay, claim number 3. Ethan spreads overt misinformation, period. Just straight up lies about Hezbollah and Ansar Allah in order to delegitimize their struggle against Israel's genocide. Let's let Ethan
manufacturing consent. Ethan spreads atrocity propaganda. He shares the Hamas hoax, the same hoax that was used by Western media, the U.S. government, and the Israeli government to justify genocide, is the second statement Noah said. The third one is Ethan spreads overt misinformation. He straight up lies about Hezbollah and the Houthis in order to delegitimize their struggle against the Israeli genocide. He cites baseless claims from Saudi state propaganda outlets to attack the Houthis. He also cites a documentary about the Houthis, which he uses as proof of the claim that they brought back slavery, when the documentary wasn't even about the Houthis. It was about the Yemeni government before the Houthi takeover. What I find so interesting about this is, like, you're really going to go on
So he says he misrepresents, or he gives misinformation about them. He cites baseless claims from Saudi state propaganda to attack the Houthis. He also cites a documentary about Ansar Allah, which he uses as a proof of the claim they brought back slavery, when the documentary wasn't even about the Houthis. It was about the Yemeni government before the Houthi takeover. So I'll just say Saudi propaganda and documentary. Okay, number 4, the fourth defamatory statement. He spreads long debunked denialist. Okay, what is this?
record and say, like, you're going to defend the Houthis for being, like, I guess, anti-slavery? Like, the Houthis have slaves. Why are you erring on the side of the slaver? Okay, they might have slaves, but let's err on the side of the slave owners on this one. To own the libs. Ironically, they are also doing the own the libs thing. It's funny. Everybody's trying to own the libs. The fourth defamatory statement. He spreads long debunked Nakba denial talking points.
Okay, he spreads long debunked Nakba denialist talking points. Ethan spreads Nakba denialist talking points. Talking points that have been used for decades to legitimize Israeli colonization of Palestine. First defamatory video at 44 to 49 for 422 to 4429. So let's just check that out. 4422.
Documentary wasn't even about the Houthis. It was about the Yemeni government before the Houthi takeover. He spreads long debunked Nakba denialist talking points that have been used for decades to legitimize Israeli colonization of Palestine.
And then I guess he just like throws up bad empanadas as evidence.
Been used for decades to legitimize Israeli colonization of Palestine. Ethan cites sources that contradict his own.
Okay. All right, let's go to that letter, because this is painful looking at it through Ethan's eyes. So yeah, I guess they're just saying like Noah didn't really cite his sources, when all he's really doing is like throwing up a bad empanada video. Okay, so let's just go through this. Defamation, Muda's video. Okay, so the fourth defamatory statement, he spreads long debunked Nakba denialist talking points that have been used for decades to legitimize Israeli colonization of Palestine. The fifth defamatory statement, Ethan cites sources that contradict his own claims directly, such as the UN report he claims proves Hamas mass allegations, which the report itself denies, the first defamatory video. So Ethan cites sources that contradict his own claims directly, and then they give an example. Okay. Ethan cites sources that contradict his points The sixth defamatory statement, he spends 20 minutes in the video smearing a 19-year-old survivor of the US-backed Saudi genocide in Yemen as a terrorist with zero credible evidence. Okay, that's funny. Ethan smears Rashid Al, I think his name is this. I think it's Al Haddad. Let me look it up really quick. Rashid Al Haddad. Yeah, okay, got it right. Ethan smears Rashid Al Haddad. Further, it is clear you knew that Ethan did not support genocide in Gaza because you watched or claimed to watch Content Nuke. In the nuke, Ethan expresses his repeated condemnation of Israel's treatment of Palestinians. The nuke, this emphasizes that you knew Ethan did not support genocide in Gaza, but still labeled him being one. Okay, so the nuke expresses his repeated condemnation of Israel's treatment of Palestinians. So then it says, so once again, like weird grammar. Additionally, Ethan condemned the genocide in Gaza on numerous occasions prior to the nuke. Your desire to falsely paint Ethan as supporting genocide in Gaza is emphasized by the end of your first defamatory video, where you state, I think many of you can also probably help out with that. Most of you have smartphones and cameras and TikTok, so go ahead, start posting about it. Spread the work. Aside from being a morally good thing to do, it's also becoming sustainable, it's algorithmically viable. And the Ethan Klein crash out industrial complex booming. The Ethan Klein crash out industrial complex is booming. So this is, so I'm just going to summarize this letter. So these are the defamatory statements. And then Noah knew Ethan didn't support genocide because Ethan said so. So this is another thing. It's interesting. Let's just really quickly go back to Noah's video. This is the YouTubers who backed genocide, and let's just go to the transcript and just search support. So supports terrorism and terrorist groups. That it's not supports genocide. Accusing the company of having a systemic problem of anti-Semitism. He cites the company's open support of Hassan. Okay, that's not support. Supporting America halting anti-Semites and what they really are. But we do have evidence for that Israel has protected and supported criminal gangs with ties to ISIS. So that's Israel. An aesthetic and now faces a dire situation with limited resources. I've linked your fundraiser in the description. Support if you can find the funds. The occupation forces support his campaign. Diplomatic support by whitewashing. So this is the killing machinery that has been used to slaughter Palestinians in Gaza has been provided by the United States government. They've also provided rhetorical and diplomatic support. Cannot be said the case of Israel. The vast majority of Israeli public supports this genocide. Polling shows that 95% of Jewish Israelis supported the IDF's actions. The Trump administration's plan to facilitate the ethnic cleansing of Gaza was support statistic. I never supported little children dying, I want all of them to grow. Supporting Hamas, interviews of supporting him and his right to kill and rape Palestinians. Support of Western governments mentions this support largely takes the form of more overt kinds like spreading misinformation and explicit Israeli state and idea of propaganda, and the other subtle yet significantly more frequent and effective is that manufacturing consent reporting of Palestinians. Okay, so listen, this is kind of interesting here.
Governments is the Western media. As previously mentioned, this support largely takes two forms. The more overt kinds, like spreading misinformation and explicit Israeli state and IDF propaganda. And the other more subtle, yet significantly more frequent and effective, is that of manufacturing consent. Reporting on Palestinians has some clear
So, like Noah Samsen makes it pretty clear that if you are spreading pro-Israeli propaganda and misinformation, that is support of Israel and then a support of what they're doing. So once again, they're going to have to prove that like Ethan Klein didn't spread any misinformation about Israel, which is just blatantly false. There are countless examples of him spreading misinformation about Israel. A lot of them are listed here. He misrepresents the enemies of Israel. He misrepresents the actual like basis of what Israel's doing in the region. Like one day he'll say that they still have military targets in Gaza and in the West Bank, and the next day he'll say they have no valid military targets, they're just doing a job. He says that there is no kind of, he says that the Israeli public like doesn't support the genocide. That's a lie. He says that Israel doesn't have apartheid and it is not a segregated country, which is just completely not true. There are countless ways that he supports Israel by lying for Israel. And if Noah Samsen is fairly explicitly defining support for the genocide as lying in favor of Israel. And they're going to, I don't know what they're going to be able to do that, because that's like a pretty solid case. Lying in favor of a country is giving support to that country's actions. Like if you're really trying to make this country look good in the eyes of the people, then by making it look good, by proxy, you're going to make their actions look good. Guys, consider signing up for memberships. It helps me out, helps my editors out. It's only $1 a month, so it's really not a big deal. Your name can be green. That will be cool. And thanks for watching, everyone. Talk to you later.